What if the exhaustion that you're feeling isn't from life, but from not trusting the quiet way guidance actually works? Today, we're going to uncover the difference between control and true spiritual direction on a spiritual remedy. Welcome to a spiritual remedy, beloveds. My name is Sunshine Day, and we provide spiritual support for people in recovery. And when people hear the word meditation, they imagine a monk sitting at the mountaintop in lotus position for 3 or 4 hours. And when other people hear the word meditation, they think, what, you want me to sit still for hours and do nothing? And for many of us in recovery, that right there feels quite sus, right? And that's because we've either spent years and years and years controlling everything or trying to escape from everything. And sitting quietly and doing nothing could feel like the least productive thing imaginable. But what if that quiet moment is actually where guidance begins? One of the greatest struggles in sobriety is learning the difference between guidance and control. And if we listen, we might be able to tell the difference because, see, control says, I got to figure everything out. Have you ever said that? I have. Or if I think hard enough, worry long enough, or plan enough, I'll finally feel safe. And the problem with control is it's exhausting. And in recovery, when we live from control alone, we often end up with anxiety or feeling overwhelmed or spiritually disconnected, even while staying sober. Ask me how I know. I mean, you could be doing everything right, and yet something inside feels tight. Ugh, and that's often a sign that we're trying to run the whole universe ourselves. And that job description, it never really works out well. Even in the early times, Bill Wilson talked about the importance of quiet time and sitting still and asking for guidance before making decisions. And he and a lot of the early members would simply pause and listen inwardly, like listening with an inner ear, because not only did they believe, but they knew a higher power could guide them if and when they became willing. So, are you willing? Because I'll tell you something, that kind of guidance is not dramatic. It often comes quietly through a sense of peace, through a gentle redirection, a nudge, or a clarity that shows up after we stop trying to force everything to happen. And that is the difference between control and guidance. Control pushes, guidance simply unfolds. So this week, I have a micro spiritual practice for us, and it's super simple. And yes, it might look like you're sitting and doing nothing, but I'm going to invite you to just take a few slow breaths. I notice that when I say that, mm, my body already wants to relax. And as you take an in breath in slowly and an out breath slowly, just quietly ask yourself, am I trying to control something right now that I could actually place in the care of my higher power? And don't rush the answer. Am I trying to control something right now that I could actually place in the care of my higher power? And simply notice what comes up. Sometimes the relief that we're looking for begins in these quiet moments when we stop gripping at life so tightly. And I got to tell you that the benefits of doing this over and over and over again is that these kind of spiritual practices begin to change something inside of us. I noticed for me, I became a little bit calmer and a heck of a lot less reactive, and definitely more proactive and more trusting that life doesn't have to be managed moment by moment. And you might notice that you begin to experience what a lot of people describe as a quiet knowing of that indwelling power and presence, that sense that you're not alone in navigating all of life's situations and circumstances. Now, I gotta warn you, this presence, it doesn't remove everything, it doesn't move things out of your way. But what it does is it brings guidance and steadiness and peace and calm as you walk through life. I'm curious about something, beloved. Have you ever ignored an inner guidance later to realize that you were right? Later to realize that that little nudge, that guidance was right? If it happened to you, tell me about it in the chat. I want to know. And if these conversations about spirituality and recovery, if they resonate with you, I invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel right here. Or you can also visit our website, vidaslc.org. And there you'll get more meditation, more resources and teachings. And you can join our community for support. We provide spiritual support for people in recovery. So if you want to experience happy, joyous, and free, just hit us up. We're here for you all the time. Until the next time, know that you are loved.